They sang about love, loss, faith, and heartbreak. But today, their voices are silent. Only stone markers remain. Quiet witnesses to the legends who once ruled country music. Country music has always been more than melodies and lyrics. It is a reflection of real lives, of joy and pain, of success and struggle, of faith and failure. Behind every legendary country song, there is a human story. And like all human stories, these too must end. Across small-town cemeteries, churchyards, and famous memorial parks in America lie the final resting places of country music's greatest stars. These graves are not just burial sites. They are monuments to voices that shaped generations, to songs that healed broken hearts, and to artists who turned simple stories into timeless music. In this documentary series, we will journey across the United States, visiting the grave of legendary country music stars, learning not just where they are buried, but why their lives mattered. This is not about death. This is about legacy. Hank Williams is often called the father of modern country music. But his life was anything but modern comfort. Born in 1923 in Mount Olive, Alabama, Hiram Hank Williams grew up poor, sick, and uncertain. As a child, Hank suffered from spina bifida, a painful condition that haunted him for life. Music became his escape. By his teens, he was performing on street corners and radio shows, singing songs that felt raw, honest, and heartbreakingly real. In the late 1940s, Hank Williams exploded onto the country music scene. Songs like Your Cheatin' Heart, I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry, Cold, Cold Heart. These weren't just hits. They were confessions. People didn't just listen to Hank. They felt him. Behind the success was a man in pain. Hank struggled with alcohol addiction, failed marriages, and constant physical suffering. By age 29, his health was rapidly declining. On January 1, 1953, while being driven to a concert in Ohio, Hank Williams died in the back seat of his car. He never made it to the stage. Hank Williams is buried at Oakwood Annex Cemetery in Montgomery, Alabama. His grave is simple, but almost never quiet. Fans leave guitar picks, handwritten notes, bottles of whiskey, cowboy hats. The inscription honors not just the man, but the legend he became far too early. Hank Williams lived only 29 years, yet his influence echoes through every country song written since. Patsy Cline changed country music forever. It's not with loud rebellion, but with elegance and emotional power. Born Virginia Patterson Hensley in 1932, Patsy grew up in poverty in Winchester, Virginia. As a teenager, she survived a serious car accident that doctors believed might end her singing career. Instead, it strengthened her voice. In the 1950s and early 1960s, country music was dominated by men. Patsy Cline refused to fit into the background. Her songs, Crazy, I Fall to Pieces, She's Got You, were emotional masterpieces. She became one of the first female country artists to cross over into mainstream pop success. On March 5, 1963, Patsy Cline boarded a small private plane. The weather was bad. The warnings were clear. The plane crashed in Tennessee. All aboard were killed. Patsy was only 30 years old. Patsy Cline is buried at Shenandoah Memorial Park in Winchester, Virginia. Her grave bears a simple inscription: Virginia H. Dick, death cannot kill what never dies, love. Fans still visit daily, leaving flowers and handwritten lyrics. Her voice remains timeless, proof that true talent never fades. Johnny Cash was not just a country singer. He was a storyteller, a rebel, a preacher, and a poet. Born in 1932 in Arkansas, Cash grew up picking cotton during the Great Depression. He understood hardship early. His music spoke for prisoners, sinners, and the forgotten, with hits like I Walk the Line, Ring of Fire, Folsom Prison Blues. Johnny Cash became a cultural icon. But fame came with addiction. For years, he battled drug abuse and personal demons, before finding redemption through faith and family. Johnny Cash's love for June Carter became one of the greatest love stories in music history. When June died in May 2003, Johnny followed just 4 months later. Many say his heart was already gone. Johnny Cash is buried beside June Carter Cash at Hendersonville Memory Gardens in Tennessee. 2 simple stones, side by side. Visitors often describe the site as peaceful, as if the music finally found rest. These are only the first voices now resting in silence. Ahead lie the stories of legends lost too soon, stars destroyed by fame, and artists whose music still lives louder than their grave. We will visit the grave of George Jones, Tammy Wynette, Loretta Lynn, and other country icons whose lives were as powerful as their songs. The music may have stopped, but their stories are far from over. They sang about broken marriages, lonely nights, and unshakable faith. But behind the microphones, their own lives were falling apart. These graves tell stories the songs could only hint at. Among country music fans, there is a saying, you can't sing a country song unless you've lived it. No one lived it more deeply than George Jones. Born in 1931 in Saratoga, Texas, George Jones grew up in extreme poverty. Alcohol surrounded him early. So did pain. Music became his refuge. George Jones' voice was unlike anything country music had ever heard. Songs like He Stopped Loving Her Today, The Grand Tour, Who's Gonna Fill Their Shoes? These weren't performances. They were emotional experiences. Many critics still call him the greatest country singer of all time. Jones' addiction nearly destroyed him. Missed shows, arrests, hospital stays. He once rode a lawn mower miles just to buy alcohol. Yet somehow, his voice never failed. George Jones died in 2013 at age 81. He is buried at Woodlawn Cemetery in Nashville, Tennessee. His grave is elegant but humble, a reminder that even the greatest voices are still human. Fans often stand silently there, as if expecting his voice to rise one last time. Tammy Wynette sang about standing by your man, even when life gave you every reason not to. Born Virginia Wynette Pugh in 1942, she grew up picking cotton in Mississippi. She married young, had children early, and dreamed quietly. Music gave her a way out. Tammy's songs became anthems. Stand by your man, DIVORC, Till I Can Make It on My Own. Her voice carried vulnerability and strength at the same time. But behind the scenes, Tammy suffered. Tammy endured countless surgeries, chronic pain, and addiction to prescription medication. Her marriage to George Jones was passionate, but destructive. Tammy Wynette died in 1998 at age 55. She is buried at Woodlawn Memorial Park in Nashville. Her grave bears a statue of her likeness, standing strong, just as she always did in song. Loretta Lynn didn't sing about dreams. She sang about real life. Born in 1932 in Butcher Hollow, Kentucky, Loretta grew up in a coal mining family. No electricity, no running water. But she had something rare: honesty. Loretta Lynn broke barriers with songs about birth control, unhappy marriages, women's independence. Songs like Coal Miner's Daughter and The Pill shocked Nashville and changed it forever. Loretta lived a long, full life. She survived fame, loss, and illness, while remaining fiercely herself. Loretta Lynn passed away in 2022 at age 90. She is buried at her beloved Hurricane Mills Ranch in Tennessee. Her grave overlooks the land she loved. Peaceful, green, and quiet. It feels less like a cemetery and more like home. Before Merle Haggard, before Willie Nelson, there was Lefty Frizzell. Born in 1928, Lefty became a star almost overnight. His smooth, relaxed singing style rewrote how country music was performed. Songs like If You've Got the Money, I've Got the Time influenced generations. Nearly every major country singer borrowed something from Lefty. Alcoholism damaged his health. Lefty Frizzell died in 1975. At just 47 years old. Lefty is buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Goodlettsville, Tennessee. His marker is simple, but his influence is everywhere. These artists sang about love, survival, and heartbreak because they lived it every day. But some country stars lived lives so wild, so chaotic, that fame itself became their enemy. They refused to follow Nashville's rules. They lived loud, sang raw, and burned fast. Freedom made them legends, but it also left scars that followed them to the grave. Waylon Jennings didn't just sing country music. He rebelled against it. Born in 1937 in Littlefield, Texas, Waylon learned music young. In 1959, he gave up his seat on a plane to Buddy Holly, a decision that saved his life and haunted him forever. Waylon rejected polished Nashville sound. He wanted control, honesty, freedom. Songs like Luckenbach, Texas, Mamas Don't Let Your Barbies Grow Up to Be Cowboys, Good-Hearted Woman. These define the outlaw country movement. Fame came with addiction. Waylon battled cocaine addiction for years before finally overcoming it. He survived longer than many expected. Waylon Jennings died in 2002 at age 64. He is buried at Mesa Cemetery in Mesa, Arizona. Some of his ashes were scattered over Monument Valley, a fitting farewell for a man who lived untamed. Merle Haggard sang for those no one else listened to. Born in 1937 in California, Merle's early life was troubled. In 1957, he was imprisoned at San Quentin. There, he watched Johnny Cash perform live, a moment that changed his life. Merle's songs spoke plainly. Mama Tried, Okie from Muskogee, Sing Me Back Home. He never pretended to be perfect. Merle Haggard died on his 79th birthday in 2016. Merle is buried at Napa Valley's Tulaque Cemetery in California. His grave is quiet, like the man himself when the music stopped. Being Hank Williams' son was both blessing and burden. Hank Jr. was pushed on stage as a child, forced to sing his father's songs. He hated it. In 1975, a near-fatal mountain climbing accident nearly killed him. During recovery, he reinvented himself. Songs like A Country Boy Can Survive, Family Tradition, these were declarations of independence. As of today, Hank Williams Jr. is still alive. a living extension of a tragic legacy. But the shadow of his father's grave never left him. Johnny Paycheck sang, "Take this job and shove it," because he meant it. Born in 1938 in Ohio, Paycheck had a troubled youth. He served in prison and struggled constantly with addiction. In 1985, Johnny Paycheck was convicted of shooting a man during a bar fight. He served prison time and came out changed. Johnny Paycheck died in 2003 at age 64. He is buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Gardens in Goodlettsville, Tennessee. His grave is modest, like a man who lived hard and paid the price. Keith Whitley had one of the most beautiful voices country music ever heard. Born in 1954, Keith's career was just beginning. Songs like "Don't Close Your Eyes," "When You Say Nothing at All," showed incredible emotional depth. Alcoholism claimed him early. Keith Whitley died in 1989 at just 34 years old. Keith is buried at Spring Hill Cemetery in Nashville. Fans often leave notes reading, "Gone too soon." The outlaws lived free, but freedom often came with loss. We will visit grave marked by tragedy. Some legends didn't fade away. They vanished in an instant. No farewell tour. No final songs. Only wreckage and grave left behind. Jim Reeves had a voice that felt like comfort. Born in 1923 in Texas, Jim Reeves started as a baseball player before music claimed him. His smooth baritone made country music sound elegant. "He'll Have to Go," "Welcome to My World," "Four Walls." His music crossed borders and languages. In July 1964, Jim Reeves was flying a small plane through a violent thunderstorm. The plane crashed near Nashville. He was 40 years old. Jim Reeves is buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Gardens in Goodlettsville, Tennessee. His grave is peaceful, just like his voice. Hawkshaw Hawkins was known for his cowboy image and booming stage presence. He was a Grand Ole Opry star and a respected performer. On March 5, 1963, Hawkshaw boarded the same doomed plane as Patsy Cline. He never returned. Hawkshaw Hawkins is buried at Woodlawn Memorial Park, Nashville. His name is often remembered alongside the tragedy that took him. Cowboy Copers was also on that flight. Born in 1913, Copers was already a country legend. By the time of the crash, the plane crash ended 3 careers at once: Patsy Cline, Hawkshaw Hawkins, and Cowboy Copers. Cowboy Copers is buried at Sunset Memorial Gardens in Franklin, Ohio. His grave is quiet, far from the spotlight. 16. Mindy McCready, fame and mental struggle. Mindy McCready's story is one of warning. Born in 1975, Mindy became famous as a teenager. Her debut album sold millions. Behind success were depression, abusive relationships, addiction. Her struggles were public and painful. In 2013, Mindy McCready died by suicide at age 37. She is buried at Alva Cemetery in Arkansas. Fans often leave flowers and messages of hope. Too late but heartfelt. Country tragedy didn't stop in the past. Troy Gentry was half of the duo. Montgomery Gentry. His voice represented modern country's grit. In 2017, Troy died in a helicopter crash before a concert. He was 50 years old. Troy Gentry is buried in Hendersonville, Tennessee. A reminder that tragedy still follows the music. Darrell Singletary stayed true to traditional country sound. I let her lie. Amen kind of love. His voice honored the past. In 2018, Darrell died suddenly at age 46. He rests at Sumner Memorial Gardens, Gallatin, Tennessee. His grave reflects his personality. Simple, traditional, honest. Hall of Fame giants. And voices that defined entire generations. They didn't just make hits. They built foundations. Without them, country music would not exist as we know it today. These graves belong to royalty. Some names are too powerful to be spoken in past tense. Dolly Parton is still alive, but her legacy is already immortal. She represents what country music can be at its best: kindness, intelligence, and authenticity. Dolly has often spoken about faith, humility, and being remembered simply. When that day comes, her grave will not need grandeur. Her songs already stand as monuments. Conway Twitty brought romance into country music like no one else. Born in 1933, Conway crossed genres with ease. His deep voice made love songs unforgettable. In 1993, Conway Twitty died suddenly after surgery. He was 59. Conway is buried at Memory Gardens Memorial Park in Tennessee. His grave often draws couples, some humming his songs quietly. Before Nashville was Nashville, there was Roy Acuff. Born in 1903, Roy helped build the Grand Ole Opry into a global institution. He was more than a singer. He was a symbol. Roy Acuff died in 1992. At age 89, he is buried at Spring Hill Cemetery, Nashville, a true king, resting among his people. Eddie Arnold softened country music without losing its soul. Born in 1918, he had over 140 charted songs. Eddie lived to 89, witnessing the evolution of the genre he helped shape. Eddie Arnold is buried at Woodlawn Memorial Park, Nashville. His stone reflects calm, elegance, and class. Charlie Pride didn't just make music. He made history. Born in 1934, Charlie became country music's first black superstar. He faced discrimination, but his voice overcame it. Songs like Kiss an Angel Good Mornin', Is Anybody Goin' to San Antone won hearts worldwide. Charlie Pride died in 2020. A hero who opened doors others didn't even know existed. Glenn's final years were spent battling Alzheimer's disease. Publicly and bravely, Glenn Campbell died in 2017 and is buried at Arkansas State Veterans Cemetery. His story taught the world about dignity in decline. The songs stopped. The voices faded. But the stories still sing. Across America, country music fans travel miles just to stand quietly beside a headstone. They don't come for morbid curiosity. They come for gratitude. At these graves you'll find handwritten letters, guitar picks, vinyl records, flowers left year-round. Some fans whisper lyrics. Others cry. Many simply stand in silence. These graves are not endings. They are listening posts, where memories speak back. Country music has always been about truth. Unlike pop idols or rock rebels, country stars sang about ordinary pain, family struggles, faith, regret, survival, that honesty creates a bond that doesn't break at death. When fans visit these graves, they're visiting someone who once understood them. One striking thing about country music grave is their simplicity. No gold statues, no towering monuments, just names, dates, sometimes a lyric. Hank Williams' grave is modest. So is George Jones. So is Merle Haggard. Because in country music, the work mattered more than the image. Some cemeteries have become unofficial country music museums. Places like Woodlawn Memorial Park, Forest Lawn Memorial Gardens, Hendersonville Memory Gardens. Here legends rest side by side. Fans walk these grounds like sacred paths, connecting eras, connecting voices. Young artists still visit these graves. They study the names. They feel the weight of legacy. Country music evolves, but it never forgets. The past is always present. In the chords, the lyrics, the attitude, every grave in this documentary tells the same truth in a different way. Fame is temporary. Honesty is permanent. Some died young. Some lived long. Some found peace. Some never did. But all of them left something behind. Country music was built by people who lived hard, loved deeply, and told the truth, even when it hurt. Their graves remind us that greatness isn't about perfection. It's about connection. As long as someone presses play, hums a melody, or visits a quiet stone, country music will never die. They may rest beneath the earth, but their songs still walk among us.